think Peter just did.
I'm not sure he understood you to do that. Peter, did you send Jim Clark the link?
Okay, I
Peter just
think
did.
we're just about ready. Hold on.
I'm not sure he understood you to do that. Peter, did you send Jim Clark the link?
Pardon me?
He said, did you send Jim Clark the link?
We're just about ready. Hold on.
I'm not
I
sure
send
he
it to
understood you to do that. Peter, did you send Jim Clark the link?
Pardon me? Let me see if I have his email.
He said, did you send Jim Clark the link?
Right.
Oh, there's a playback or something.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Stand by.
I've got it. I sent it to him.
You sent it to him? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Somehow we're not live yet. I don't know why.
I got notification we were live.
Oh, yeah, I guess we are.
I did too. Yeah.
Okay. And we don't have any more background. I don't hear anything, right?
Right.
Okay. I know Jim wants to join, and I just sent it to him, so hopefully he'll join in a minute, but we do have a quorum. Okay. So I think we're going to start.
All right.
So I'm going to start with the Glens Falls Civic Development Corporation meeting, and I'm going to open up the Glens Falls Industrial Development Agency meeting at the same time. The members are the same, and the members are all present. The reason why the Civic Development Corporation is meeting today is principally to talk about our annual audit. We do not have any new business coming before the Civic Development Corporation. And I'm going to open up the Glens Falls. Okay. I heard a little background. I think Peter just took
That was
care
me.
of that.
No, that was me. I was just
Okay.
adjusting the other computers.
Okay. So to begin with the Civic Development Corporation, we do have the financial report for 11 months ended November 30th, 2021. Hopefully everyone's had some time to take a look at those. I think I sent them out last Thursday. And I'm happy to take any questions and or Suzanne on those. Obviously, Mark is not with us today. He's out of town, but if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Okay, there being none, is there a motion to approve the financial report as submitted?
So moved.
So moved by Jane, second by Lois. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The report is completed. So we have an annual audit engagement letter that was sent out yesterday. Everyone got copies from Whittemore Dowen and Ricciardelli LLP. This would be for our year ending December 31, 2021 audit. Paul Dowen would be the CPA engaged to handle that audit. And he was the person who did the audit last year. The letter states that the cost of this audit would not exceed $3,025. As you know, we've had no transactions during the course of the year. And for just reminder for people, the principal role of the Civic Development Corporation is to handle any bond transactions that come before the city from nonprofit entities. And in the past, and we have not pending, but have active bond agreements with the Glens Falls Hospital and the library. I think we have one with the library too. Yes. And so again, that cost would not exceed $3,025. The cost last year was $2,900 for that audit. We had the same situation. We had no transactions in 2020. So it's really more of a checkup than anything, and to be in compliance with the Public Authority Accountability Act and other rules and regulations that we follow. Any questions about that audit engagement? Okay, there being none, is there a motion to accept it as presented?
I'll make it.
Lois, is there
Second.
a second? Second, Mary, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is passed. And so we will go forward with that, and that audit will begin in January of 2022. That is all the business we have for the Civic Development Corporation today, unless anyone has any other questions that you would like to raise. Okay, there being none, I'll take, you know what I'll do is close both of the IDA and the CDC meetings at the same time. So let me move into the Industrial Development Agency business. We do have a quorum, all the members are present. The just briefly, in terms of my report, I think everyone recognizes that we're entering into a period of transition at City Hall with a mayor-elect coming on January 1, and our dear friend and coworker here, Dan Hall, looking to retire on December 31. And we have another dear friend, Mr. Todd Feigenbaum, who is going to be stepping away after, I think, 15, maybe 16 years of service on these corporations. And there may be some additional changes as well. And so we've been meeting, I've been meeting, and Dan Hall and I have been meeting with the mayor-elect to go over some of those items. He also is away today, and so we're not going to be discussing any of that until January. But things like officers and check signers and some new members will be discussed. And if we feel that it's necessary for some reason to do a special organizational or transition meeting in January, we would ask the members to be present for that if necessary. But if not, otherwise our meeting would be on a regular date on January 13th, which is a Thursday, and we would start at 8 a.m. I do want to, at least for now, set the meeting schedule for 2022 to be the same as it was for 2021, which is the second Thursday of the month for each month, except for the month of August. We always hope to take 1 month off if we can. And at 8 a.m. and we would do it together with the LDC meetings. Typically the IDA meets first with the LDC second. And so I'd like to set that schedule now. It is subject to change when Mayor-elect Bill Collins comes into office. I haven't had a chance to talk to him about that, but let's at least agree that that'll be our schedule going forward, so that we know at least maybe for the first quarter that that's what we'll work with. Okay.
That's good.
The rest of my report I'm going to hold for the project reports under part 5. And so let me go forward with the other items for administrative reports, unless anyone has any questions about that, what I've just said.
Judy, can you do a resolution to set the meeting schedule, please?
Yes. And so is there a motion to accept the schedule, the meeting schedule for the calendar year 2022 to be the second Thursday of the month, with the month of August off, starting at
I'll
8
make it.
a.m. Lois makes it, second,
And it's going to be at 8 o'clock, right?
8 o'clock. Second by Jane Reed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is passed. So we have with us the minutes. Everyone has a copy of, they were sent out last Thursday, the minutes from the November 11th, 2021 meeting. Any questions or changes other than Lois has already notified us at the beginning of the meeting that she was present?
Sorry.
Any other change but that? Is there a motion to accept the minutes with that one change?
I'll make it.
Lois, second.
Second,
Second is Mary, all in favor?
aye.
Minutes are passed, thank you. So we have the financial report for the 11 months of the year ended November 30, 2021. Suzanne, I think could I take any questions you may have, or I could possibly as well, as we are missing Mark today. So I think everyone's had a copy of that since last Thursday. Any questions about the financial report? Okay. Is there a motion to accept the financial report as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Todd, second. Lois, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is passed. The financial report is approved. So for the payment of bills, we have one bill this month, Fitzgerald Morris Baker Firth, $544. Is there a motion to approve the payment of that bill?
I'll make it.
Jane, second. Lois, all in favor?
Aye.
And who's got the checks for me to sign this month?
I think Bernie does. Mark will be back on Monday, but I think Bernie either has them locked up or knows where they are. And so if you do want to
I'll
go
give her
to
a buzz.
the call, give her a buzz today or tomorrow. Jeff, you don't have them, do you? No?
No, they're in the building. They're here.
Yeah, okay, very good. So the next item is the annual audit engagement. Everyone has a copy of that letter. Again, that is with Whittemore Dowen and Revitalization LLP. It is for the audit for the year ending December 31st, 2021. Paul Dowen, the CPA at one of the partners at that firm, would be the engagement partner who we have dealt with in the past. The cost for the audit for the IDA will not exceed $7,350. That's last year it was $7,050 was the final cost for the 2020 audit. Any questions about that engagement letter? Is there a motion to accept it as presented, and we'll get those signed?
So moved.
Mary, approved.
Second.
Jane, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion is approved. All right. I don't have any other administrative business, so I'm going to get right into the project reports. Let me start with 88 Ridge Royal LLC, the Queensberry Hotel. If you drive by that way, you'll note that construction is underway at the Queensberry Hotel, and Tyler Herrick has reported to us, to the members, and to myself in advance of this meeting that the project is on pace to be completed around the beginning of July 2022 as planned. Work began in November with electrical site work completed first to prep the site for work that followed by National Grid. The foundation work followed after that. And as of this date, the contractor has poured all the footings for the new addition. A portion of the roof on the existing building facing north and closest to the parking lot has been removed, and the new roof has been partially installed. It will be extended over the new addition once the steel frame is erected, and I'm told that that steel is going to start going up possibly today, tomorrow, or early next week. The project continues to deal with price fluctuations and increases and also some supply chain issues. They've reported to us that the total cost is 60 to 75% higher than originally projected. And when we first started talking about the project, so this project is a good example of one that would not have gone forward if it were not for the assistance provided by the IDA. So glad that we're involved and that they're making the progress that they are. 1525 Park Street is EASM Holdings or Elizabeth Miller. They've also had significant progress more recently in the interior of the building. The HVAC systems are in, the sprinkler systems, electrical, plumbing, sheetrock. According to the contractor, the first floor is going to be completed by or shortly after the end of March 2022. And the second and third floor apartments are going to be completed by or near the end of June 2022. They have had also delays due to supply chain issues, as well as coordinating issues with National Grid. Elizabeth Miller has reported to us that to avoid future delays, she has been purchasing materials in advance, in particular for the apartments fit up and kitchen appliance equipment for the market. And she's had to expand that into storage areas to be able to have those materials before supply chains run out. So we're seeing this in other projects, and it's interesting how people are dealing with these supply chain issues. So glad that she's also doing fairly well on schedule, even with these problems. So 13 Chester LLC. This is, Mayor, probably more of an LDC report, but I'll go ahead and give it here too. So the refinance or mortgage consolidation was finalized on November 23rd. And as part of that, 13 Chester Street paid off their outstanding loan to the LDC. Because we have a pilot agreement with 13 Chester LLC. We were also a party to that transaction, and that pilot agreement remains in place even though the IDA loan has been paid off. Our attorney, Kara Leis, handled these transactions on our behalf and collected payment from the parties for the administrative fees and the outstanding loan payments, and delivered those to our CFO, and deposits were made. I believe the outstanding loan balance was approximately $31,000. 221 Glen Street Realty LLC. The pilot and leaseback agreement are still scheduled to be terminated. Kara advises that the deed in lieu of foreclosure on this property has been delayed again, as the attorneys for the lien holder continue to gather signatures. The transaction was to take place on December 1st of this month. It's now scheduled for next week, December 13th. According to Kara, well, actually, Kara has prepared and had me sign the documents that pertain to the termination of our pilot and leaseback agreement on that property. And that those documents, that would also take effect on December 13th if the transaction happens as planned. In advance of that date, Kara would like to get confirmation that the pilot has been paid and there are no outstanding payments due to the city of Glens Falls. So Susan, if you could do that and get back to Kara on that, or have the assessor do so as soon as possible, and earlier than the 13th would be great. And that is it for our project reports. Any questions? Okay. There being none, and since we have no other business and no need for an executive session, I would call for the adjournment of the Civic
Judy?
Development Corporation meeting and the Industrial Development Agency meeting.
Judy, can I just interrupt real quickly? Just one quick note that I learned recently.
Yes.
Just to update everybody, I had a couple inquiries about this. There was not an official application submitted, but a couple of months ago, Tim Moriarty, a developer down at 178 Maple, had looked at sort of created a preliminary application, let's say, for a pilot among other support. I just want to let everybody know, because I had a couple of people ask, he has currently withdrawn that application or the intent to apply. He's looking at some other avenues for support. And I'm actually meeting with him. Jim Thatcher and I are meeting with him tomorrow. So we're going to be looking at some other avenues. So for the time being, at least, he's tabling any intentions to apply.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Any questions for Jeff on that? Any other parties that have come by, Jeff, that have interest that you want to give us a heads up on?
None that have any specifics that are worth mentioning now. As soon as there are, I'll be sure to let everyone know.
Okay. All right. So is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
Lois, is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second.
Second, Jane, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you. Mayor, your turn.
Judy. And I'll call the Greater Glens Falls Local Development Corporation December 9th meeting to order. And I'd like to start out by thanking everyone, especially Judy, for all the help she's done with our IDA and our CDC and of course the LDC. And I also want to wish Todd, the best. He's given a lot to the city from when he was in the community development department and was very much involved with a lot of the projects that have happened here in the city. And this also will be my last meeting. And I want to thank all of you for everything that you've done. As you drive around the city, I think you can see that the LDC, the IDA, and the CDC have done a lot. And, I get a lot of compliments on our city. And a lot of it is due to some of the things that's gone through the IDA, the LDC, and the CDC. So again, I want to thank you. And we'll start the meeting out with, let's see, we're going to go to the administrative report, approvals and resolutions. So first off, y'all have the minutes from the November 11th meeting. I look for a motion to approve those minutes.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So the financial report, you all have that. As Judy had said before, that Mark is out of town. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at that. There will be some things that will be happening with the LDC as far as hopefully we will be putting some money back into the LDC to help with small business loans and to also help market our tech metals. So those things will be coming up, and Jeffrey will be involved with that, and Suzanne, and they will let you know at the next meeting how that transpired. So the financial report, if you've all looked at it, is there a motion to approve?
I move.
Okay, who was the second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Payment of bills. So on the payment of the bills, we have the Fitzgerald, Morris, Baker and Firth. We also have account temps, the total for everything along with the DRI, the CT mail. It's $6,386.25. Motion to approve.
Make it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We also have the annual audit engagement with Whittemore Down and Paul Down. Is there a motion to approve that audit engagement?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So under E, we have the USDA intermediary. How do you say that word?
Intermediary.
Intermediary relending program. It's early in the morning. So,
I think, Mayor, I
that
think
what
that
you wanna do?
report is pending
okay, the report's pending.
unless, yeah, I don't want to speak for Suzanne, but I believe it's pending unless Suzanne, you have it ready. The quarterly report.
I don't think he has it ready yet.
No,
Okay.
okay.
He doesn't
No,
have it ready. He's
actually,
working on, he hopefully has it by the end of the year. That's what he's promising.
Yeah,
Mark is working on it.
I was in touch with Mark yesterday, and he mentioned when he gets back, he's coming back from his trip Monday.
Mhm.
We'll meet and he's gonna register and we'll start the reports. So he didn't have any problem having those by the end of the year.
I don't know that that needs to be approved, Mayor, but the members should all receive a copy. So whenever that's ready, we'll ask Mark to
Okay.
send that out.
All right,
Can
great.
we back up a second?
Sure.
You didn't mention the audit amount, which I just looked up, is $9,950. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yes.
and last year it was 9,600 for the
Okay.
2020 audit. And it's the same audit firm, Whittemore Dowen.
I just wanted to make a note that we
Thank
had
you,
the
Lois.
others, how much it was.
Thank you,
Thank
Lois.
you.
Okay, so we'll move on. Does anyone else have anything else to report from this list here? If not, I want to move on to the project reports and resolutions if needed. So downtown revitalization, DRI. I'm going to let Jeffrey and Jim kind of take over for the next things. Jeff, do you want to start out with the Market Square at South Street and the Community Market Center building?
Sure.
A little bit
There-
about
there's-
that.
Sure, there's not an enormous amount to report. I mean, things move a little bit slowly during the holidays. The one thing I will mention that's relevant to this committee, or this board, I should say, is that as we're negotiating with Bonaccio, especially with respect to the LDC properties, we're moving on a path toward having them purchase the properties at appraised value. This, of course, is the two properties at 45 South and 36 Elm. I was in conversation with Kara, who's of course on the call, and she can tell me if I'm wrong in my understanding. There is a path potentially, if we were to, in the course of the negotiations, want or need to sell those properties at less than appraised value. It's a little more cumbersome and we're hoping not necessary. There are other tools at our disposal that we think we can use for negotiations. But at the moment, at least, the path seems to be toward using these other tools to sort of provide whatever support we need for Bonaccio in the negotiations and have them pay the appraised value for the two properties.
And let me just add to that to supplement what Jeff was saying. The reason for this discussion, again, is huge price increases in construction materials, particularly at this time, as well as supply chain issues. So they're dealing with the same issues that some of our other projects from the IDA are dealing with. And we're hearing, it's been well documented in many other projects as well. So that's kind of what's pushing this.
Yeah, thanks, Judy. And then just a quick supplemental to that, we're also going to be meeting next week to look at some revised or sort of honed concept designs for the market center, which of course was the year-round market center building or structure, I should say. And once we have some further clarification and a little more firm design, we'll be back and we'll have some further elaboration on that. And that's about the only thing that's going on at our end. Jim, I don't know if you want to add anything, if there's anything relevant regarding the HCR projects or CARES Act.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff, and Mayor Hall. Judy asked me to run through a couple bullet points for you guys, end of the year, kind of wrap up. So the smaller components of the DRI, the homes and community renewal, 600,000 that was broken into 3 different funds. The GF Drive program, we're standing at 8 approved projects, as you know, from several months ago. I'm happy to report that 5 of those are now in the disbursement stage, meaning the owners have spent most or all of their required equity to get back 80% in the grant funds to them. So we're doing the paperwork for drawdowns. Some of those drawdowns are quite extensive with the documentation, but 5 are in, again, the reimbursement stage. So they're basically completed projects, with good news. 2 or 3 of them are going to carry into 2022 just because of logistics and the projects, like Lillian's bookstore, for example, near the library that Elizabeth Mahoney's doing. It's just taking her time to really get that sorted out as a capital project. So I'm going to have Mayor Hall or Chairman Hall sign a extension request letter for this grant before he leaves office, hopefully. And Jeff and I have had some conference calls with Homes and Community Renewal in the past few weeks, and they seem receptive to an extension, and they seem fairly pleased with the progress on these 3 funds as a smaller part of the DRI. So that keeping that agency happy is a good thing. On the facade program, there are 3 projects, as you know, we're still holding at that, and that's all we kind of want to do at this point. 2 of them are completed or nearly completed. I will note one of them on Glen Street represented a $90,000 plus investment to get back $25,000 from this facade program. So that's almost a 4-to-1 leverage ratio, which is much more than the 50-50 percentage that this facade program was designed with. So I think that's an impressive investment. Overall, that building, the former Achenbach's jewelry store, is really over $1 million of investment that the owner is doing complete gut of the entire building. So again, things are happening downtown with not just with public money, but a lot of private investment, even with the pandemic and the supply chain and other issues. And then the third thing I wanted to update you quickly on is the Arts District, which again is a separate DRI grant, one of the smaller DRI grants, which makes it hard to or easy to ignore and sort of procrastinate on, as folks in the working group know that we've been trying to plod along with. But I'm happy to share that 5 out of the 6 approved projects for that Arts District grant are actually completed. The list originally, prior to us sort of really digging our heels in with this, was more like 12 or 13 projects, but we kind of whittled it down to 6 that were the most doable without a lot of the other complications that were kind of built into that grant from the beginning for whatever reason. The biggest of those projects not completed is the public art installations. These are kind of signature sculptures or murals or things that are still sort of being ironed out in terms of details with insurance and contractual and procurement issues that the arts folks kind of have to get their arms around, but we government types and consultants certainly understand. So we're sort of, working through the tensions of, making sure the procurement is done right. But I think those will happen in the spring. Obviously, the weather now is not conducive to installing public art. There are 10 bike racks that have been fabricated that are kind of a bright bluish color, and you'll definitely see once they're installed. So I think the Arts District folks are reasonably pleased. I will note that the traffic control boxes on some of the street lights or traffic lights in the city that were painted recently, and people have given a lot of kudos for that. Unfortunately, we took that out of the DRI. We found that to be overly complex and hard to do with public funding. So they went ahead and raised money on their own, the Arts District of Glens Falls. They should get all the credit for that. I had someone several months ago thank me for promoting painting of the traffic control devices, and I said I had nothing to do with it. We eliminated it from public funding, so they did it on their own. So kudos to the arts folks for getting that done through the city engineer's office and whatever other authorities they had to go through. But just to clarify, it's not an LDC sponsored project for those painted traffic boxes. And I want to give a shout out to Todd and Chairman Hall for their efforts to sign drawdown documents whenever I request. Todd has to trudge to City Hall to physically put his name on these disbursement requests. These grants are LDC grants for the Arts District and GF Drive, and they need a couple signatures. And we created some other forms for the mayor to sign, verifying the expenditures. So come January, we'll have to kind of get some new signatories on board, but I do appreciate Todd and the mayor signing things at my beck and call for these drawdowns. So that's it for the homes and community renewal portion of the DRI, unless there's questions or discussion.
Jim, quick question. Clearly, you're not a politician. Isn't there any way we could take credit, at least for cataloging the painting of the boxes?
Not going to take credit, but Steve Gersler can take credit because he, as a working group, he didn't want them painted, and then he went ahead and made a deal with the Arts District on the film. So I guess it's Steve Gersler's issue to
Cut
deal
aside
with.
deal, yeah.
Thank you, Jim. Do you want to talk about the CARES Act, deferred loan status and, and what's coming down the road?
Sure, Mayor, thank you. So city received about $450,000 of CARES Act money. This is the federal CARES Act way back from March 2020. About 190 of that, the Common Council put into a new business assistance program. We call it the Small Business Recovery Fund. So of 190,000, 25 deferred loans, which are really turned into grants after 18 months, have been issued. John Cordis and Mary and Pat Tadish sit on a 3-person review committee for those COVID relief business loans. There is about $16,000 left, but I don't have anything really pending at the moment, but that's not a lot to do more than 1 or 2 additional that might come in the door. However, the Common Council has approved CTML working on a grant application to Homes and Community Renewal for some separate state CARES Act money. So the feds put out their CARES Act money earlier than the state, but the state has some additional funds for a similar purpose of business assistance. And we are working on a grant application to New York State for about $300,000 to $350,000 with a little bit of a different design than the recovery fund that John and Mary and Pat Tadish are most familiar with. I think we're going to try to target some larger businesses. 20 of the 25 grants that have been issued to date were basically for firms that had 5 or less employees, really 2 or 3 people or less, 1 to 3 people. So those are all kind of micro businesses. And I think we're going to try to do some outreach and see if we can get companies that are more in the above 5, 5 to 25 employees and see what their needs are in terms of COVID relief. We could go back to some of those original ones as well. Those were fairly small awards of about 7,500 or less. And certainly the pandemic has gone on a lot longer and in many different phases than I think people originally expected. But that grant application, I hope to get in before the end of the year. And then the city would have 12 months to implement this next phase of that small business recovery fund. There are no match requirements of local funds. It's 100% federal grant. And I do think the LDC could be involved like that you have been with the same review committee or a different review committee if you'd like. But we're trying to infuse that recovery program with another state grant since this CARES Act money is out there and there haven't been enough takers for it. So the city of Glens Falls certainly has every right to go after as much resources as we can get to help local Glens Falls businesses. So.
Thank you, Jim. And again, I want to thank you for all that you've done on the CARES Act and the things that you do for the community development side of things and making sure that we're compliant. And I really do appreciate that. So after that, is there any other business that would like to come before the board?
Yeah, I have
Mayor-
a question. Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Who's on first?
Suzanne?
Mine's boring.
Okay, I have a question for Judy. when I look at Mark Toomey's notes, he has an additional check to be issued to CT Mail for 2160. It's not reflected in the Schedule A. Should we add it to Schedule A in order to pay it?
That's up to you, Suzanne and Mark, that I did, I think I did send that back to you, and if we're prepared to pay it and there's sufficient funds in that account, then, I certainly would be fine with it.
Okay, then we probably have to revise our Schedule A then and add that particular, change the CT Mail to 6960 versus the 4800 and bring it to a total of the payments of $8,546.25.
I move to amend our resolution to
Yes.
reflect that number.
Yep, okay.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good catch, Suzanne.
Let's pay
is
Jim,
great.
pay Jim,
Get
pay Jim.
everybody paid. I know.
Is there anything else?
Yes, Mayor, could you call for a motion to set the meeting schedule for the IDAs also for 2022 on the second Thursday of the month?
Sure. So, as Kara had just said, I'd like to set the meeting schedule for next year, and it would be the second Thursday of each month
At 8 AM.
at 8 AM and with no meeting in August. Motion,
So
I'll make
moved.
the motion.
is it second?
Yep.
All right. Okay, so if there's no other business, we don't need an executive session. I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved.
All right, and we got a second, so we're adjourned.
All
Thank you.
right.
See you somewhere down the road.
Very nice holiday,
Okay.
everybody. Stay safe.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas, everybody.
Christmas.
Guys.
Great
Happy Hanukkah.
holiday. Thank you.
Good